the COP29 Climate Summit became the most important event of 2024, bringing together more than 190 countries to address one of the most critical challenges of our time, overcoming the global climate crisis.
Do you see climate changes in your country?
Yes, a lot. Climate change has really affected us in different ways. For example, last year in the 2022-2023 season, we had the worst drought ever in history of the country. And this has really affected us, both agriculture and energy. So right now we are having only about a maximum of 3 hours of electricity for the whole day. Sometimes we can even go up to 3 days without power. So all these are devastating effects of the climate change that we're facing as Zambia.
Yes, prominently. I live in Massachusetts, which has a ton of shoreline, and we see the impacts of hurricanes as well as sea level rise frequently.
Yeah, definitely. Like 2 years ago, literally so hot, and like all the grass in the garden turned yellow, and the grass didn't grow back until next year. So yeah, it's quite obvious for everyone.
In your opinion, with which instruments can we solve climate problem?
We as Zambia, we've tried to put on certain measures, such as banning the use of charcoal, because Zambia almost 80% depend on electricity. Apart from electricity, meaning if there's no electricity, we used to depend on charcoal. So government has put up measures to ban the use of charcoal because the trees were being cut. On record, the country is one of the most highly deforested countries. This is just one of the mitigating measures that maybe we may try to plant new trees to reforest the country once again. Maybe it can improve.
There's a lot of instruments that we can use. The issue right now is that we're not using any of them to the scale that they need to be used at. Clean energy, of course, renewables, battery storage, nuclear, all things that are at our disposal is necessary in order to mitigate against the worst, but also funding for adaptation and loss and damage.
So we are here at COP29 and very good what I see, science for climate action. So do you believe that it could help us to solve this problem, and how?
I think science is absolutely fundamental, because if we don't have science, if we don't have data to drive better decision making, we're going to waste the little amount of money that there is. It's fundamental that we understand exactly where the problem is. Here at these COPs, we talk about global aggregates, but that hides a huge amount of individual hardship and suffering. We need to know, where is the climate crisis happening now? Where is it going to happen tomorrow? For example, one of the things that has helped countries like Bangladesh be able to reduce the number of deaths from terrible cyclones has been early warning systems. The same thing is happening in the Kyrgyz Republic, for example, who's had over 300 natural disasters just this year alone, but they've only had 22 deaths. Now, any death is one death too many, but their use of data and science to be able to predict where those hazards are going to happen, where they need to move people quickly and immediately, those types of early warning systems are built on good science and good data. So we simply can't tackle the climate crisis without the best science and the best data, coupled with traditional knowledge and know-how.
How to unite all scientists, all best scientists in the world?
So we have the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. We have something similar for the nature crisis, IPBES. I think these are really important for in order to have those discussions about the best science. But what's really important is we get that science down to the ground, to local universities, to local citizen scientists, to civil society organizations who have scientists or who need to use that science in their decision making and in their advocacy programs. And ultimately, we need to get the science into the government agencies who have the early warning systems, who are making the decisions about where to spend money. And that's why it's important to have the scientists talk to each other, but it's just as important that the scientists talk to decision makers, to communities, to everybody, so that we can all understand where the dangers are, where the opportunities are. We can learn what's working, and we can all together make a difference.
Do you believe that unity of all people in the world could solve climate problems?
Definitely, for sure. Yeah, I believe. Because, I would think like environment is the only thing you cannot negotiate with, right? You can negotiate with other country or organization, but natural have their own rules, so you have to play by their rules. So yeah, everyone should involve, definitely.
Yeah, if we can unite as a world, because what affects Zambia is not because of the activities that are done in Zambia. It's activities that are done in UK, it's activities that are done in Dubai, activities that are done in America. Those are the things that bring effects even to countries that are innocent, such as Zambia. We are talking about highly industrialized countries that have polluted the environment, but those effects are felt world over. So if we can unite with a common goal to say, "Oh, let us fight this together," it is a one thing, not an individual country. It cannot be solved.
Yes, however, we have overwhelming consensus that climate change is happening and it's happening at a rate that's unprecedented. So sometimes, even if the science is there, it's political will that's obscuring.
I think all of us need to come together, as we do here at COP, as we do in so many places, to discuss the challenges, to make sure that we're operating in solidarity with the families who are at the forefront of the climate crisis, because climate doesn't impact everybody equally, not in terms of the size of the impact, not in terms of when that impact happens. And I think the power of the COP process is that we're all here from every country, from business, from the financial sector, from civil society, from science, to come together to try and find the solutions to help those families at the forefront of the crisis.